Okay, first you want to grab a tool, gently pry up underneath the edge of this. And very carefully peel this off all the way around. Once you have this off, you'll see the 4 screws to take off the bottom case. Pull those screws out. Once you have those 4 screws out, take you something thin, like a razor knife. Come along the edge here and gently pull the case up. Now be careful. There is a speaker connected to this right here. Here's the inside case. Unplug that, set it aside. Now, in here, you have 2 screws here, one here, one here. We need to remove those. Once those screws are removed, you take your tool, gently lift up. You can pull this out. Now flip this over. There's a ribbon cable attached here and a battery attached here. You're going to lift up on that, disconnect the ribbon cable, disconnect the battery. Set this aside. Now is a good time to go ahead and pop your power button out. Set that aside so we don't lose it. Now, you've got this case here, white. There's a clip on the side here and a clip on the side here. You're going to take a tool. Little screwdriver works good. Now, I've already modded this case, so I'm taking it back apart just to show a video of how it's done. So this has already been done on mine. So you're going to pull up on that, do the same thing on the other side, and pull up. It's a tight fit. I need 2 hands to get it out. I'll be back. Okay, once that's popped loose, you go ahead and lift this out of here. Pull the battery cable through. Now, this looks different than what it was originally. I had to trim the bottom of this off, as you can see. If you take yours apart, you'll notice exactly what I'm talking about. We have the battery that's in here. We're going to go ahead and take our tool and we're going to disconnect the double-sided tape holding the battery in. And we'll go ahead and pop that out. Now, as you can see, inside the case here, you can see the antenna adapter I've added to the top. Now here's the battery. Now the reason for trimming this was so that it did not come in contact with the antenna adapter I've installed. Now, down inside here, you're going to want to remove this screw, which we'll take out here in just a sec, just for the video. We'll be back. Okay, once that screw is removed, to pull the internal assembly out, you simply take and push on the front of the lens here, and it will pop out. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to remove this right now, because what needs to happen is once you pull this out and you install the antenna, unplug the factory antenna where it's at in there, which is right back here. Right there is where the factory antenna is plugged in, and where you would plug in the new one. Once that's plugged in, you need to install the main board back in first, and then add the external antenna adapter, put it through the hole, and go ahead and tighten everything down. Reason being is that you cannot get the main board in if you install this first. Now, I did have to trim a little bit out of the bottom of the plastic right around here on that where the main board is too. Very simple, as you can see, because I didn't take pictures of this originally or video when I did it. But anyway, so you drill your hole where it needs to be, trim around your piece, install the new antenna wire, and then slide this all back into place. Put your screw back in, obviously back there, the one that last one we took out, and then go ahead and install the antenna adapter into the hole and tighten everything down. All right, now that our screw is back in the bottom, everything's plugged in, obviously. This would be after you do the mod. I do want to say, though, also, the one thing I failed to mention is that there is this piece of metal in the very, very bottom down here that needs to be removed, which sits under the top like this, and that's what makes this magnetic, so that way you can stick your magnetic base to it. That has to come out, because this is literally the only spot to add this adapter. I did not use the magnetic top up here, so that is not an issue for me. I did want to add that in there. Now, putting it back together, just reverse procedure. Put your battery back in. You flip that over, kind of use your tool here to push it all back down into place, make sure it's sitting in there good. Now you can see once the battery's in there where I have that antenna adapter sitting at. Now I suppose I could have done it on this side too, but either one of two spots. Once that's in, you go ahead and take your plastic piece here, fish your power wire back through it, and then you're going to slide this back down into place. So you'll hear it click in. Push your little knobs back over here, your little lockers. And now that's back into place where that should be. After that, you are going to take your board here and you're going to plug it back in. Flip the little locking tab up on that. Blue goes on top, and you're going to plug it in. Be very careful. Make sure it's snug in there and push down the locking tab. Now it's locked in. Then you're going to take your battery connector plug that back in. Now we need our power button. Power button has a square slot and a round slot. The switch itself slides into the square slot. The square is always going to go to the left when you slide this in, because the button will go in both directions. And it can be a pain. You don't need to. Okay. Now, power button's back in, or switch, I should say. Slide that back into place. Put your 2 screws back in. Once your 2 screws are back in, you're going to go ahead and take your bottom cover here. Make sure your speaker's in place. It didn't pull out or anything. When you pulled it out, it will sit here right in that slot. You're going to take the connector wire here, which connects right down here, and you're going to go ahead and plug that back in. Use my little tool here to help me push it down. Okay, that's plugged back in. And then you're going to take your bottom cover. Make sure everything lines up, because you have your sync button down here and the SD card slot, of course. And you're going to go ahead and snap that back into place and put your 4 screws back in. Okay, once you have your 4 screws back in, you are going to take your bottom rubber cover here, and you are going to go ahead and push this back into place. Okay, once you got your bottom cover back into place, simply put your base back on, screw your desired antenna of choice on, and there you have it.